Long before there were pharmacies, there were healers. Mothers, fathers, and neighbors who turned to the earth for wellness. Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Appelbaum. Each week we explore the plants, traditions, and time-honored remedies that connect us to that ancient wisdom, so you can bring it into your modern life.
Today we want to talk about the last system of the body that we haven't talked about yet, and that's I'm going to slaughter this, integumentary system. It's our skin. So, like back in grade school, everybody taught us that our skin is our biggest organ, and it has a lot of really important things that it does for our body. One of the cool things about our skin is it replaces itself almost every month. Our other organs, it takes years for them to replace themselves. So for the liver to completely replace itself, it takes 7 years. So if you think about the largest organ in our body is the one that replaces itself the fastest, that's, pretty a cool thing. So when we talk about the integumentary system, that's the skin, hair, nails, and then there's some glands that go along with the skin to help it in its function. So the whole point of this system is it's a protection for our body. So it protects us against dirt, debris, things like that. It also keeps out bacteria and viruses out of our body. It softens us. It helps prevent injury to the bones and to other things. It protects us from toxins in the environment. It protects us from harmful rays from the sun. So it's as far as protection goes, it's like one of the major parts of the protection of our body. Another thing that our integumentary system does is that it helps with sensation. So helps with the sensation as far as touch, pain, temperature. And another thing that the integumentary system does is it helps regulate our body temperature. So when we're warm or cold, the integumentary system is what kicks in to help maintain our body temperature. So when we're really cold, the skin tightens up and you get goosebumps. That is basically, it's our body reacting to a change in temperature. And so it's how it helps maintain that. It also regulates fluids in the body. If we have too much fluid, it can help kind of like push it out, excrete it through sweat or other things. So along with that, the excretion of the sweat or whatever, we also have glands throughout our body that produce sweat. That it also gets rid of some toxins through our sweat, but it also puts out oils that help keep the skin supple, helps keep it soft, gives it the pliability that it needs. And then also another thing that the skin does is it takes cholesterol in our body, and when there's sunlight on our skin, it converts it into vitamin D that our body then uses for whatever it needs for vitamin D. So that's another really fascinating thing about what our skin does. So the skin is actually, there's like 3 layers. There's the epidermis, which is the skin, the outer layer that we see. Then there's the dermis, which is the part that's underneath the skin. It's sort of the layer underneath. That's where the blood vessels are. That's where the glands are that secrete the sweat and the oils and stuff like that. And then there's also the subcutaneous tissue, which it's like a layer of fat that kind of like, it's like a barrier, but the body uses that to maintain our body's temperature and things like that. So then we also have our hair and our nails, which the nails protect the tips of our fingers and the tips of our toes from getting hurt. It gives us that hard layer of something, but it also has a bit of sensory input. So it's part of what enables us to feel things when we touch it. to know, like when we're picking things up or whatever, the nails help with that. One of the amazing things about our skin is how fast it can repair itself, whether we get a cut or a wound or something like that, how fast the cells, it knits itself back together and can repair itself. And it's one of those fastest repairing parts of our bodies. It's a really neat thing. So a lot of things that show up, any issues within the body sometimes can show up on the skin. Sometimes, so like brown spots, a lot of people call them liver spots. Basically, the liver isn't functioning properly. And so it's trying to excrete some of the toxins through your skin. And that's when you get like liver spots and things like that. Jaundice, when your liver's not functioning properly, you're not getting all of the nutrients that it needs, and your skin gets that yellow or greenish hue to it, and that's a sign that the liver isn't functioning properly. You can also tell how hydrated you are by using your skin. If you press with your forefinger on your thumb and you press into it, if there's an indentation that stays there, you're dehydrated. So it's an easy way to tell how the state of hydration you're in just from that little test. Fingernails also are a great determinant of a lot of things. So if you look at your fingernails, you can see there's it's starting, especially with your thumb, you can see that there's a lighter, like kind of like a crescent moon or a half moon kind of look to the towards the follicle, towards the end of your thumbnail. And that's indicator of how much protein your body is, like if you're getting too much protein in your diet or whatever. So if you look at your first finger, it should have a little bit of it, but the other fingers shouldn't necessarily have it. If that lighter moon-shaped color continues on through all the fingers, then you're getting too much protein in your diet, and you can cut back on protein. So, it's a really cool way of determining a lot of things. The strength of your fingernails, so like if they're wavy or lumpy or anything like that, it shows that you're deficient in silica, so it doesn't have what it needs to make the strong nails. And you also could be deficient in calcium and some other things. So there's a lot of things that your fingernails can tell somebody if they know what they're looking for. The skin, quite often you can see that there's dryness. Acne is another thing that shows up on the skin. Eczema, infections, wounds that don't heal. These are all issues that show up in the skin. So what are some ways you can support your system? So we talked a little bit about hydration. So if you're like that test on your thumb is because the skin is the last place to get water. So that's how you can tell if you're dehydrated, because your thumb is showing that, the skin doesn't bounce back as fast, and it's the last place to get water. So it's the first place to show that you're dehydrated and you don't have enough water. And so we talk a lot about water and getting in good water. Another thing that's really great for skin are fats. We like to joke about we had a Saint Bernard that could go walking through the kitchen and just tilt his head a little bit and grab an entire cube of butter and walk off, and you wouldn't even notice, until we caught him doing it, we didn't know what it was. And Lynn always jokes he had the most beautiful coat, and it's because he was getting a lot of really good fats and oils in his diet. It was expensive, but as far as a dog having a beautiful coat or our skin, it's the same kind of thing. If you're getting a lot of really good fats and oils in your diet, that's when your skin gets soft and pliable, and really having that healthy looking skin. A lot of that just comes from good fats and oils in the diet. You get those kind of things from avocados, nuts, coconut oil, seeds, olive oil. With your oils, you just want to make sure they're not super overly processed, or check your processing, because that's quickest way that oils get destroyed. And if there's other oils mixed in, carrier oils is what they call them. So you want to make sure you're getting good fats and oils to have that good, healthy looking skin. So I kind of touched on silica. Silica is the mineral that allows our body to have elasticity and connect. It helps the connective tissue, and like our skin basically we're covered in connective tissue. That's what skin is. Zinc and vitamin C help with the repairing of the skin. So if our skin needs repair or anything like that, we need more zinc or more vitamin C. And then vitamin D and sunlight helps the skin as far as immune function and fighting off viruses and bacteria and stuff. Vitamin D is essential for it. And that's why it is made in the skin, is because our skin uses that vitamin D for immune function. The vitamin D is also, when we have extras, uses for stronger bones and the connective tissue. So, getting sunlight is also a really wonderful thing. So it's funny, we talk about, there's the basics for health in just about any of our body systems: hydration, good food, and sleep. So as far as sleep goes, that's when the skin really repairs itself, is while we're asleep. The body repairs itself, and sleep is essential for repairing it. And so while we sleep, that's when our bodies repair themselves. And if there's any wounds or anything like that, our body gets repaired while we sleep. So let's talk about some of the herbal formulas that we have that are intended for the integumentary system or support it. So one of the main formulas that we always go to with any skin issue is blood wash. So blood wash helps clear out toxins and stuff, but it helps the glands that produce the oil, that they can produce the right kind of oil that, like some people will say their hair or their skin gets feeling really greasy. Blood wash will help to push toxins out through the skin. Anytime you have eczema, acne, anything like that, blood wash helps clear those up, because it helps gives the skin what it needs to be healthy and to move toxins away from the skin, away from the body. So blood wash is really, really important. And so there's two formulas that go along with it as far as acne or anything like that. And it comes down to hormones and how bodies are. So with anytime that a person has acne, especially somebody like a teenager, a youth in that age, or even an adult that has acne, it comes down to a hormonal thing. So blood wash will help with it. And if blood wash doesn't start taking care of it really fast, then for a woman, she would add tonic F, and for a man, he would add Happy O. So that helps with the hormonal aspect of it. And then the blood wash can clean it up and deal with the other things that are causing the acne. So we talked a little bit about how, a lot of liver issues show up on the skin, liver spots, discoloration of the skin, things like that. So if the liver isn't functioning properly, it's going to show up in the skin pretty darn fast. So that's where it shows up first. So Live Clean is amazing to help with that skin issue. So you're cleaning up the liver, which takes the toxic load off of the skin, and which is really helpful. Tissue mend, it goes without saying. If you've got a wound that won't heal, or sores or anything like that, tissue mend will help give the body what it needs to enable those to heal faster. So if you have bruising and scars and stuff like that. I forgot to mention with blood wash also helps with boils, skin lesions. If it comes down to, if something's showing up on the skin, generally blood wash will take care of it. So some of the other ones, silica, we mentioned silica DE, and minerals are essential for our body. Our body uses them to repair itself and to heal itself. So if you have scars on you that you are pretty hard and or any blemish that is really hard. Basically, when a blemish goes from soft skin feeling to hard and crusty, it's starting to change into something you don't want. And that's when we use eraser oil. So eraser oil will take any hard skin and make it soft and help it to be healthy. So it helps with scars. Scars is skin that didn't heal quite properly, so it's really hard and it and doesn't have much pliability, and eraser oil will give it that. So another formula that we have is our Comfrey Gold salve. The Comfrey Gold salve is amazing for any wounds or sores or anything like that. Comfrey leaf it's called a knitting herb, but basically it gives your body what it needs to be able to knit back together any sores or anything like that. If you've got infections on the skin or anything like that, the Comfrey and the golden seal kill off the infections. If you've got some skin thing going on that's caused by a fungus or a mold, that golden seal will kill the mold so that you can to give you that healthy skin. So with both eraser oil and Comfrey Gold, and sometimes people like to alternate, so they'll do eraser oil one day, Comfrey Gold the next day on a scar or on a wound or something like that. The easiest way to do it is if you have an adhesive bandage, put a little bit of the salve or the eraser oil on the Band-Aid and put it over the wound, and then just leave it there all day so that it can absorb into the body. So let's talk about some things that everybody has on hand. If instead of just the herbs, some things that you can use. So Dr. James has the 20 herb kit. 2 of the herbs in the 20 herb kit, chamomile and lavender, are really, really great for the skin. A lot of people do a compress if you've got irritated skin, a rash, something like that. Make a compress with chamomile and lavender or lavender. So you make a tea out of the chamomile and lavender, soak your a rag in it or whatever and put it over the rash, and it's really soothing and really helps with the ache and pain of whatever the skin thing you have going on. Another thing you can do is make red raspberry leaf tea. We talked about that before for for a rash in the mouth, but it also works great on a rash on the skin, especially anything caused by a fungus or a mold or just some irritating toxin in the air. If you make the red raspberry leaf tea and put it in a spray bottle and just mist it on the rash and just let it sit for a while, it really, really makes a big difference. If you're having a hard time getting enough water in you for hydration, tea honey is really, really helpful. It's really amazing to help bring up the hydration really, really quick. So when it comes to skin, there's some, going back to the daily habits. And the nice thing is like we've talked about, some of these apply to all sorts of different systems of the body. So good hydration is key for keeping all of the systems of the body healthy. Getting good sleep also really helps all of the systems of the body, but it helps with the skin. And we talked about how it helps with repair and helping you get over any skin things. Wanted to talk a little bit about soaps and things that we use to clean our bodies, because that's a really essential thing. Basically, a lot of fragrances and a lot of oils are really pretty strong on the body, and they can cause a whole lot of issues. You want your soap to be as natural as possible. Read your labels and really look into study up what you're putting on your body to know what it is doing to your body. So then you're aware of when you go looking at any products or anything that you're using, like shampoos or conditioners, deodorants, any lotions, anything like that. Look at what they are and how they're made, because it really makes a big difference on your skin. So it's been wonderful talking to you about the body system, the integumentary system. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them, and I will talk to you next time.
listening to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Appelbaum. Visit drugfreehelpstore.com to download your free Healer in Every Home guidebook and explore herbal formulas that support your health naturally. Be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves natural living as much as you do. Thanks for joining us, and remember, true healing starts at home.
It is not the intent of professional herbal instruction or any persons associated therewith to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But professional herbal instruction or any persons associated herewith assume no responsibility. The claims and statements made on this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.